boy, studies, teacher, and all my beloved friends. My name is Yometa. I am a student from IP Primary 5 program as one from school the Kamawan campus. Today, I will do a story that talking about history of ancient Greece, called Alexander the Great, written by Karl Watt. The purpose of the story wants us and other people all around the world to learn about a powerful leader in ancient Greece named Alexander the Great. Before we start, let me show you some of Alexander Empire map and Alexander fathers and mother. So this is Macedonia, which was Alexander ruling. This is Asia Minor. This is Persia, which was Greece's longtime enemies. And this is India, which was Alexander's final battle. This is Alexander's father, Philip, and this is Alexander's mother, Olympias. This is Alexander and Bucephalus together. Now, without any further delay, let's move on to our story. A great leader. Nearly 2,300 years ago, there lived a powerful leader named Alexander the Great. Alexander was the king of Macedonia, which was part of ancient Greece. Alexander set out with his army to explore and climb new lands. He ended up with a great empire, preparing to be king. Alexander was born in 356 BC. Alexander's father, Philip, was king of Macedonia before Alexander. With the support of a powerful army, Philip kept Macedonia and most of the surrounding Greek city-state under his control. Alexander's mother, Olympias, firmly wanted her son to be king of Macedonia one day. Alexander wanted to be a powerful leader. Alexander's range became clear at an early age. When he was 12 years old, Philip decided not to buy a horse because it was too nervous. Alexander noticed that the horse was frightened by its own shadow. By turning the horse head away from its shadow, he was able to calm the horse. Alexander then rode his new horse, whose name was Bucephalus, with ease. Bucephalus and Alexander would be together for life. When Alexander was growing up, his father was sent away. Philip relied on the special teachers to prepare his son to be king. Young men of Greece had to learn to hunt, ride horses, and fight with swords, javelins, and bows. Alexander and his friends needed to learn this skill to survive in a battle. Philip asked Aristotle, a very wise man, to teach Alexander science, history, and other subjects. Aristotle was respected for his intelligence. He also helped Alexander appreciate art and culture. As he grew older, Alexander took on more responsibility, including leading soldiers in a battle. Alexander was raised to be the next king. However, in 337 BC, Philip married a woman who was born in Macedonia. Olympias was not Macedonian. If Philip had a baby with his new wife, the child would be first in line to become a king instead of Alexander. In the 336 BC, Philip's new wife had a baby girl. In the same year, a man killed Philip. The new baby was too young to take the throne, and after Philip's death, Alexander became king. Becoming king. As soon as he became king, Alexander called on his father's army for support. Persia was Greece's longtime enemies and had taken Greek land in Asia Minor. Like Philip, Alexander wanted to rule Persia and more. Many of Greek city-states supported Alexander, but others were not sure about young king's grand ideas. The state had power to keep Alexander from ruling Greece and could also rule his plan in Asia. Alexander used force to maintain rule, and silent people opposed him. A year after becoming king, he set out for Asia Minor. When Alexander arrived in Asia Minor in 334 BC, he threw his spear into the ground and climbed the land. Soon after, the Macedonians fought the Persians in a battle at the Granicus River. Both armies were well trained on horseback and on foot. The Persians, however, fell quickly to the speed and the power of Macedonians. Alexander and his men moved on. Next, Alexander and his army freed Greek cities along the Aegean Sea. Darius, the king of Persia, went to fight Alexander and the Greeks in the Battle of Issus. The Persians again lost to the Macedonians. Darius managed to escape. Alexander traveled south to stop Persian ships by taking control of cities along the Mediterranean Sea. Some fought back, but the Macedonians' strength and skill dominated. In 332 BC, Alexander marched south into Egypt. The Persian leader there gave Alexander control. Alexander gave Egyptians government position. He permitted their religion. The Egyptians welcomed him. Alexander decided to move farther into Asia, east of Asia Minor. In what is Iraq today, the final battle with the Persians took place in 331 BC. Darius again fled the battlefield after losing to the Macedonians. Now Alexander ruled Persian Empire. He traveled through the Persia trying to find Darius. Before Alexander could find him, however, Darius was killed by a local leader. As Alexander gained control of more land and people, he started following Persian custom and asked his men to do the same. Alexander began to demand that the Macedonians bow to him. The Persians did. Many Macedonians did not like Alexander's new way. The Macedonians' army struggled in 326 BC in the land they called India as they moved farther east. After winning a difficult battle, Alexander continued on through India. He was badly injured but managed to recover. Alexander pushed his men to keep moving even though it caused them great danger. After fighting for nearly 10 years, many of Alexander's men were tired and wanted to go home. They finally to convince him to turn around. They made it to Babylon in 323 BC. However, Alexander came down with a fever. And in June of that year, Alexander the Great died, just before he turned 33. The life of Alexander the Great. Alexander's empire included part of Europe, Asia, and Africa. His life was not just about taking control of land and ruling people. Perhaps, because of his early education, he learned the tradition of his new empire. And in turn, he and the Macedonians spread Greek cultures in new lands. Alexander became a role model for the rulers and explorers who followed. He opened the door to new places and helped create an exchange of new ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, after listening to the story about Alexander the Great, what do you think I have learned from the story? For me, personally, I learned that ruling a country is not easy as you think. Like Alexander, he spent most of his life in the battle to control the other city-state. And he became a role model for his country. He also the one who opened the door to new place for his people. And however, I feel really sorry for him because he died just for his people, and he's the best and the greatest leaders in the historians. And at the end, I would like to say thank you very much for your listening. Bye.
សាលារៀនសុវណ្ណភូមិជាសាលាចំណេះទូទៅខ្មែរធំជាងគេនិងល្អជាងគេនៅកម្ពុជា